today I thought I'd just mention a few things, and came to my mind a couple of things, and one of them first is that in the vlogs I really want to be able to share not just kind of like practical steps, but more about how I go about processing, how about dealing with certain things, and give you some sort of insight to that. And from my perspective, that could be quite mundane and small things. They could be quite, maybe into my world, quite dull. But I guess my hope is that while they may be dull to me, they may be interesting to you, there may be something in there that's going to give you value. Maybe just one other person's going to see it and go, oh, thankfully it's not me that just goes through that. It's not just me that has those kind of challenges. I'm sure, like I've done in some other videos, give some instructions which are very specific, ABCs, follow this step here and here and here, and we'll have those, some real strategies. What I think the agenda for these videos is I could continue to evolve them and understand what I can achieve, what I can do, is to assist you with the mindset that you need to get into to get the things you're after. I can't know what that's going to be for you in terms of how it's going to relate to what I can share, but there's something I say that you do get something from, that's great. So I'm just trying to disassociate myself from what I think is going to be relevant and to see if it is, and we'll go from there. And that's kind of why using the comments box, feedback to me what's working for you, what's not, or what you want to talk about particularly, is going to be super useful, so I understand how to help you best. And I can gear these videos, and these are evolving, and I say that to you, I say to myself, that I'm evolving with these videos and what to include in them, how they're going to work, when I do them, and improving on the sound quality, which is probably the first thing to try and do. The thing about the sharing thing though is that it's not just about having me talk about my things and you feel you shared, but that collective sense of knowing it's not just me is really useful in de-intensifying those kind of feelings we can have when we're feeling alone with our problems. It's kind of the flip side of sports, which sounds a weird segue, but we don't go to our football stadiums or our go and see our sporting events. We don't see them on our own with no one else there. It's the collective nature of these things which makes them so appealing. The sport is obviously what engages us, but what keeps us driving is that collective community. We're all sharing that same experience. And then the sports kind of realm, if your team does well or loses, it's that collective feeling which is so passionate. You see it across the globe. And then the reverse of that, when we feel that we've got a collective of feeling over something that we're not on our own, that just makes things a little bit easier to bear. That doesn't mean that means that just because you can relate to me means you're going to have solutions particularly, but it pre-installs the idea that maybe there's some hope, maybe there's an opportunity, and just begins to shift that mindset into thinking, well, I wonder what I could do to change what I've got. And if it connects with you, then great. But I can't be the judge of that. I won't know. So the best thing is, rather than try to predict what you need and predict you need a certain strategy for a particular problem, I'm going to come up with what I'm doing, and you can cherry pick what you want from that. And as I say, as these videos evolve and hopefully get better, I get more articulate with some degree of more planning, that they'll be even more valuable. The thing I want to share, and actually this goes back to the very beginning here, I remember meeting someone once and they said to me, that I come across quite confident, and I want people to recognize that if that's the case, I want to look behind the curtain and see that actually I'm just like anyone else. I have my troubles, I have my thoughts, I have my own insecurities and my kind of things I want to deal with. I don't let them consume me, but they're there. And I think the core, in addition to the value I want to give, the kind of the background reason behind doing anything like the vlog or talking more about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and sharing that, the behind the scenes, is to break that intimidation. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not. It was their interpretation. However, I could see it. I could see, actually, do you know what? If I come across as polished and perfect and having it all figured out and having these steps and looking assertive, that can create intimidation. That can create maybe some personal judgment of people. And I'm thinking, well, that means I'm just not getting through to anyone. They're going to be like, oh, I just can't do that. He's got a perfect world. He can do it. He knows the things. And it disassociates them from taking any action. And actually, as I kind of talk about it and expose this theme a bit more, acknowledging that that I'm as vulnerable as anyone else, and that makes it, which will then would help you to find some solutions for yourself. That's far better than me coming off with a perfect ABC structure, pattern, strategy that I will come to occasionally, but it needs to be balanced out with realizing that I have off days, I have fantastic days, but it's a mix. And that's why it's done this way, that's why I haven't shaved, that's why it's just in a t-shirt, that's why it's quite casual, it's keeping it real for you and accessible. And that's probably the right word as I talk it out, is that if I'm intimidating, if that confidence comes across me as intimidating, I am not accessible. You won't access what I'm talking about. You're going to distance yourself, you won't relate to me, you're going to go, that's just another, that's a nirvana I can't reach. But this version here, which is part of the other one, but this version you see now, far more accessible. And that connects with what you want to do, and that creates a change, then that's the purpose of anything I do. So as we explore this, well, yeah, you're coming for the ride, I'm just talking out loud. But as you understand this, I hope that gives you an understanding of what I'm looking to achieve, and the statements I want to make as I go forward is about how I kind of break that sense of intimidation. With that in mind, what I thought would be quite useful is to share something that's happening for me in the last few days. Is I think what I've come to recognise is this a bit of a constant seesaw. I was going to say battle, but that's not really the best word. Constant seesaw with work and trying to achieve the things I want to do. And there's a challenge to get them all done in the time frame I'm after. And that's because one project, doing a vlog, for example, may take longer than I thought. It may be that I'm not feeling I can connect with a quote that I want to try and articulate, and so that takes longer. It could be that there's a last minute booking, which means I'm pulled away from doing anything else, doing any other writing. And I think I'm beginning to recognize that it's it's a seesaw between achieving what I'm after and then having to accept that that day didn't succeed as well. And there's been a lot of that. There is a lot of that, I think. I have great ambitions for my time doing the vlog. It could be doing Instagram, it could be doing a Facebook video, or a small short 4-minute video about something quite specific. All of those kind of things sometimes are successful in a day, sometimes aren't. And it's also another third factor is actually finding time to do things which are kind of I guess more mundane but not work related. All those that all falls back. But what I want to be doing is actually reintroducing them occasionally, allowing myself some of that time to do those little kind of household things or weekend things. But I guess sharing with you how I recognise that there's so much going on, and some things win on some days and other things don't. So maybe the clients will win that day, and then say vlogging doesn't win that day. I think it's about coming to terms with all that fluidity. Sometimes it's easier to bear that movement, and sometimes it's a little bit trickier because you just don't get the traction you want on certain things. So I'm just acknowledging with you that there are frustrations, letting you know how I feel about them. The kind of only solution I ever come up with myself, I guess, is something maybe you can actually extract. Say, like, I can scoop that out and say that's a takeaway for me. You can never undervalue doing something. Whilst I have 10 things I want to get done, starting them and doing them, even a little bit of each, is the way through that, rather than bemoaning that you can't do certain things. Accepting where you are, acknowledging that you want to do more, but then thinking, right, I'll just start now and take one thing or two things and just eat into it. Even if the one thing you do is going to take a long time, just start it, just do little bits. You're going to feel better for doing that, rather than, scratching your head and complaining that it's not going the way you want to. And I need to do more of that myself. I need to stop that overthinking, say, right, well, I am where I am. I now need to crack on and get this done. you know, we can dwell. This is a common theme in lots of the vlogs I'll do, but it's we can dwell, we can ponder for too long. There's a healthy amount of time when we can think about things, and there's an unhealthy time when in fact we're simply recycling the same thought and where we need to make a decision or take some degree of action. And we may not feel 100% comfortable with that, but it's so important that we do something. It's kind of what our bodies are waiting to do, is to actually action something, and to be able to take all those thoughts and then do something with it. And that's what I find to be the best solution to that kind of frustration or that trying to balance things out. Is just to crack on and do. I've got some sort of template of what I want to achieve and keep kind of focusing on that. But I guess I'm recognizing that there's always going to be this back and forth. There won't be a perfectly smooth one-on-one, just one guy doing all this. And figuring it out as I go along. This is how it's going to be. This oscillation, this back and forth, this seesawing of time and attention. So I think that's all I'm going to mention today, really. Just by recognising that, I get overwhelmed as well, about my intention behind the vlog, and about what I do about that, which is to action, do things, to start.